What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Metal Gear Solid yet again. And there was actually an interview that was done over at Famitsu. It was translated by Genki over on Twitter, and just want to kind of read the highlights of it, which is really what his Twitter post is about, talking about remaking other games and even potentially future Metal Gear games. Honestly, quite a bit of good stuff, and we'll kind of break it down and go over which parts of it maybe are better than others. So he says Metal Gear Solid series producer Noriaki Okamura says if they were to remake MGS1 or Metal Gear 1 or 2, they couldn't do it in the same way as Metal Gear Solid Delta, and they would have to create many new parts. He says they are also thinking about if it's okay to make the next game in the series, but they will think about the next step for the series after getting feedback for, Metal Gear Solid Delta. Before everyone who was involved in the original is gone, we need to create a path to preserve the Metal Gear series for 10 to 50 years into the future. I think this is something we have to do. Now, I want to start at the end there because I actually think I really like to hear it. I think jumping to 50 years is quite a wild jump, but, very big into game preservation, as you guys probably know from watching the channel, or if you don't, I have a whole third channel just about old games, so, I'm very much into it, and, I love to hear that, right? I think that's more along the path of MGS4, right? Like, that's a big one that's trapped, and they've given all the hints that that game is going to be part of Volume 2, right, when they do the collection, so I like the idea that, that collection is something that I think they want to put more work in, and they've talked about it before. Like, they know the first one at launch was pretty bad in terms of bugs and glitches and things like that needed to be ironed out. So, but I do like to hear that the plan is to preserve these things. Now, 50 years, I don't know. Look, I'm into collecting. I got hundreds and hundreds of discs, for video games. I don't know if they'll work in 50 years. I don't know if there'll be the consoles out there without repairs, right? A lot of these consoles are kind of built to die at some point. And so I don't know, is a PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, are they still going to be able to turn on in 50 years? I honestly don't know. So I think that's jumping it a little bit, but you know what? I like the enthusiasm. I like the effort. And so that's perfectly good. I like that step. Let's just kind of go backwards from there, right? So the next part was talking about a new game. Now, I've seen a lot of people that are very upset about this, and I will say, it's a touchy subject because of Hideo Kojima, but I don't know. For me personally, I'll only speak for myself. I really feel like it should be more people, but I'll only speak for myself. I think they've said all the right things. If you watch the videos, they almost do these sit-down, not interviews, but almost state of the developer, state of the game kind of thing. And they've done a couple of them, and they're very honest. They're very honest. If you actually watch them, right? They know they've messed up. They know what they need to fix. They're about as respectful as I think they can be for this game, that they know that they might be upsetting people, but and we've even talked about it on these channels. One of my favorite things they've said is that they want to be judged. They literally, and they've said this not word for word, but very close. When Metal Gear Solid 3 comes out, they want fans to tell them if we think that they are the right studio to do more Metal Gear games. That's what they've said. They want to almost be now, you could say, all right, well, maybe that's all talk because they are making this game, right? Nobody elected them, right, to make the game. But honest, what are you going to do? I like that mentality. They are making this game. It seems like they're doing it as respectfully as they can. And their entire outlook is let the game come out, let people judge the game, and then literally let them judge us. If they think we're terrible, we won't do them anymore. If they think that, okay, we did a good job, maybe we'll be given the green light and we'll make more Metal Gear games. Now, would I prefer them to remake versus making new ones? The issue is just always going to be Hideo Kojima. One day you will get a Metal Gear game that's not made by him, and it's just good. I don't even know. I actually don't even know what the next part of that sentence is, right? It's going to do what it's going to do. I don't know if I would support it. I don't know if I would hate it. I don't know. But I do like the attitude. I think I can say that quite confidently. I like the attitude, and I just like the idea that, and maybe the idea is just keep remaking the old ones. If that's the path they want to take. But I do think eventually they would want to make a Metal Gear game of their own. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know. Maybe it shouldn't be numbered. But then if you do a reboot, but you could do a spin-off. I don't know. You'd almost have to play it safe, but not play it too safe. It's probably why so many people, are so upset upset, right? Because kind of no matter what you choose, you're probably going to mess up no matter what. And then just to that first part with, if you were to remake the earliest of the early, Metal Gear games, and we've heard this before, even from like a Final Fantasy of the world, you almost have to pick the sweet spot, right? Like some games were just made at a time where it's easier, or their art style makes it easier. Like Final Fantasy VII is not necessarily like a one-to-one, even in visuals, right? Like, obviously, everything has been freaking overhauled, but it's probably easier to remake 7 than 3 or 4, pick some of the earlier ones. And I feel like it's probably the same kind of thing for a lot of these games. Like, you really start to go back, and especially, like, if they switch styles, but, Metal Gear doesn't necessarily have that issue, but I'm just kind of talking, like, in general, right? Like, I understand that. I feel like some games in franchises would be easier than others. Not necessarily like it has to be an argument of easy versus hard. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.